Welcome, dearest friends and beautiful souls of love and light. I know it's been a while since I've done a video, and something important has come to light recently, so I thought I would make a video to share this all with you. Sunday night, I was on the air on Michael Carbone's radio show, which you can catch me on there a couple times a month. And the subject of forgiveness came up. There was a woman who called in, was asking for some feedback for her sister. Her sister was having issues with her liver. And what was coming through was there was forgiveness issues surrounding having to do with her mom. Now, also in my own life, personally, there's been a situation with someone who I've been involved with for a little about 4.5 years now, and this issue of forgiveness has also come up. So this is the reason that I'm doing this video, to share with you all, so that hopefully you can come into a space of forgiveness. Um, Back about 14 years ago or so now, I was involved in something called the Landmark Forum. And it is a seminar series that I highly recommend anybody who wants to go take it. It is a bit expensive, but it's totally worth it. And for those of you, here on this side of the globe, it would be landmarkeducation.ca, I believe. And globally, it's landmarkeducation.com. And having to do with forgiveness, I was in a very right snit about some stuff in my life. I was blaming people, I was blocking people, I was, basically a very angry person back 14 years ago. For anyone who knows me now, would take a look and say, oh my goodness, we don't know who you are, a completely different person. But I shed all of my issues on forgiveness because what had happened is that during this forum, we had an exercise, something that they called in the forum at the time called a racket. Basically, a racket is where you're having an ego fit about something that's in your life. You're blaming somebody for something. You're basically blocking out love. And mine was a big one having to do with my father. And they asked for volunteers, so I was a volunteer. And I came up and stood up in front of, the group, and they asked me what my racket was. And so I would go on, and I kind of stood there with my hands on my hips and, all this stuff, going on and on about what my father did and how he did this to me and that to me. And at that point in my life, he was also, I felt, doing things to my mom, and all of this stuff, and as a result, I was very angry with him. So the forum leader had stopped me at one point and basically said, so how's that working for you? And I still had my hands on my hips, and I was just like, what do you mean? How's that working for me? It's working great, right? And he's like, I can tell you're really, angry. You're really free from being in a space of love. And that's when it kind of hit me, and basically what the premise of Landmark says is that when we're in a racket, and we're free from forgiving someone, we're holding against them what it is that they've done. Basically, it cuts off our love. It cuts off the flow, and our payoff is we get to be right. Okay, we get to be self-righteous. And so when he said to me, how's it working for you? It was kind of like, okay, well, you really take a deeper look, and it really isn't. When we hold on to things like, things that people have done or said and what have you, that's conditional love. And this person that has been in my life, that I've had a connection with, being involved with for the last 4 years, I did some things that, in his eyes, were really hurtful. And I will again apologize publicly here on this video. It was a long time ago, 3.5 years ago, when this happened now, and I am deeply sorry. I know that I hurt him, and I'm deeply sorry for what I did. And since that time, I've been free from ever doing anything like that again. But what has happened is that he has taken what it is that I did and held it against me, and has punished me, and basically has blocked me from his life to a certain point. Basically, I'm allowed to email him or text message him, see him occasionally when he deems necessary. But for the most part, I am out of his life. Although I know everything about him and we are very intimate and close and whatnot, the same time he has basically made a decision, cut off love, because that's what happens when you make a decision rather than a choice. You cut off love, and you cut off all possibilities rather than seeing all the infinite possibilities and making a choice. For me, in doing the landmark, it was great freedom, because for me, I am free from having that issue. I don't hold things against anyone. In fact, this person who I'm speaking of, who is in my life for the last 4.5 years, he's done some pretty horrendous things against me. If I were to sit here and list them out, he's made me homeless twice. He's called the cops on me. He's slandered me about town, saying I'm delusional, and all of these things that he's built up in his mind, basically, to try to convince himself, myself, and others that I'm some bad person or whatever, simply because he hasn't let the past go and let love in. So as a result, for me, what had happened is, and it's also due to something that my former husband has shown me as well, which I never got, because for years he would say to me that, when he woke up in the morning, that it was a new slate, everything was gone. From the night before. Whereas before that, I used to hold on to everything. Everything he did, the way he treated me, everything, and I would let him know it, every day. Much like this person who's in my life for the last 4.5 years has done with me. He calls it reminding me of the truth. I did the same thing with my former husband. I used to tell him, well, you did this and you said this and blah, 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 and it's because of this that, I don't want to have nothing to do with you and I don't love you and blah, 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 right? Well, this person who's in my life is now a mirror of who I used to be, 14 years ago and before this. So I'm very grateful to this person for him showing me that, of who I was and who I am no longer, because I've since grown from that. And this technique that my former husband called kind of like the whiteboard or the blackboard, basically you just erase it. It's gone. Okay. And so when I wake up in the morning, you know, everything that happened from the night before, and I do this as I drift off to sleep. As I lay me down to sleep, I, just feel this sweet, sweet love flowing over me. And it just washes clean all of the things that have happened in the day. All of the, past hurts and whatever are no longer a factor. And I don't hold on to anything, and I don't hold on to anything and hold things against people. What I'm sharing here, is just simply what happened. It's not so much that I hold it against, anyone, nor do I keep it as a reminder, of why I don't want somebody in my life either. All my relationships that have shifted, they've just simply shifted into another resonance. Like, for instance, with my former husband, he and I didn't divorce because of the things he did to me. He and I divorced simply because we outgrew each other. We no longer resonate in the same space. And that's also why we really don't talk to each other, just because we don't really have anything to say. It's not because I've said to myself, oh, he's done this and done that, because he did do some things, and so did I. We're not, I'm not going to say that I'm this perfect, angel in that sense. We all make mistakes. But unconditional love, and what agape, unconditional love really is that you love someone regardless of conditions. In other words, regardless of what they do, what they say, how they act, you still love them and you still want them to be in your life as a result. You may not always like their behavior, true. And you may say that you may not like their behavior, and you may ask that they please not behave a certain way. But again, you're loving them and you having them in your life is not dependent upon circumstances or situations. And so, for forgiveness of this woman who had called in this past Sunday night, what was coming through is something that a source has given to me is called the forgiveness release. And basically, what that is you give thanks for the gift. In the instance of this woman who was on the air with me, she was saying that she was having trouble forgiving her sister was having trouble forgiving her mom, and this was due to some childhood traumas and whatnot, is what I was picking up on. And the thing with forgiveness is that oftentimes people will give us the opposite of unconditional love, by giving us conditional love, by being abusive, what we call earthly abusive, or doing certain things and saying certain things. And the way we can come to forgiveness on this is to simply understand that each person is only doing what it is the best that they can with where they are on the journey. So in my case, with my mom, this is how I came to forgiveness. My mom was very, from an earthly standpoint, very physically abusive to me as a child. I came to forgive her by understanding that it was only what she knew. In other words, this was an energetic pattern that stemmed from my grandfather, and my great grandfather, my great grandmother. And so she knew no different, okay, other than to do what she did with me. And when you come to that space of understanding that, and then also understanding that because she was indoctrinated into unconditional love, a different way, she was indoctrinated through conditional love, that I could thank her for that because she showed me how to be unconditional love. I would not know unconditional love if she had not given me the opposite. And so I'm very grateful to her and thankful to her in giving thanks for the gift. And when I come into that space, all I see, and with that understanding that she knew no better, because that's the only thing she knew from energetically where she was on the path at that time. You come into a space of pure love, just seeing that person as that little child, because all of us are just simply little boys and little girls, who have been hurt ourselves and do not know any better and are simply doing the best that we can with where we are at. And so I saw my mom as this little girl who was just looking to be loved and who knew no different. And I was able to hold her in my arms and just love her and say, I forgive you. I forgive me for that part of me that doesn't love myself that brought this into my life. And I give thanks for the gift. And I've done the same thing with this person who's been in my life for the last 4.5 years, him calling the cops on me, him making me homeless, all of these things that, occurred. I don't hold them against him. And I don't sit there and say, I don't want you in my life because of it. He and I are at a distance simply because of his choice to be free from letting the past go and letting love in, not because of anything that I have done per se. It's his choice to see it that way. And so when you're able to do forgiveness in this way and be forgiveness in this way, you come into this space of total love. And this is something that you can also do for yourself as well. Because there are things that, all of us, we've done in our own lives, things we've said, things we've done that, sometimes we have a hard time forgiving ourselves for and coming to a space of love, I think. And so I invite you to use this technique as well for that. And what happens is it erases the slate. It makes that whiteboard clean. So then all you feel is love. You feel love for yourself. You feel love for that other person, and then you want them in your life, regardless of who they are. Jesus never turned away another soul, never said, I do not love you, never said, I do not want you to be in my life, simply because of the way they acted or what they did. And so if we can come to this space of forgiveness and really giving thanks for the gift, and then we come into this space of total and unconditional love, then we're free. And this is how we are to release and let go and let the past go and let love in. Because really, it is our only call to be love now, to be love in each moment. And the more and more that we can do this in our lives, the more and more love that we have. And so with that, I wish you a life full of effortless love, infinite blessings, and just remember to be love now, for love is who you are. God, Source, Spirit, Master Artist, whatever you want to call it, is free from saying to us that you are no longer my child, you are no longer a child of Source. I no longer love you simply because you made a mistake. In God's eyes, Source's eyes, there are no mistakes. There are just simply choices that we make, and then we choose again. And God still infinitely loves us, still infinitely wants us in our lives, wants us to be with Him or her. We are never cut off or blocked from God or Source just because we somehow make a quote unquote earthly mistake. God, Source, still loves us. We are to be this for each other. God is our example. Source is our example, our model. We should never block somebody from our lives and say that we don't want them in our lives simply because of that. There's a quote that this person who's been in my life for the last 4.5 years, he loves as well as I do, and I'm going to read it before I sign off here. It's by Louise Hay, and it's from her book called The Power is Within You. And it says simply this: there is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer. There is no disease that enough love will not heal. No door that enough love will not open. No gulf that enough love will not bridge. It makes no difference how deep-seated may be the trouble, how hopeless the outlook, how muddled the tangle, how great the mistake. A sufficient realization of love will resolve it all. And if you could love enough, you would be the happiest and most powerful person in the world. Somewhere deep inside this person who has been in my life, I know that he deeply loves me, and I deeply love him. And I also know that if he were to simply let the past go and allow love in, and I invite you all to do this, to let the past go and allow love in, see what it will give in the moment, to simply be love now, and allow that quote from Louise Hay to really embody your life, to really come into a space of forgiveness. Because the truth of the matter is, and I know this better than anyone, as I am and have been diagnosed terminally ill, you never know when your next breath is going to take you from this earth. You never know when someone you love is going to leave this earth. Life is just too short to go around holding on to things that no longer serve you, holding on to rackets and things that people have said and done that have hurt you. It is you who is choosing to be hurt. It is you who is choosing to be blocked. You are blocking love when you do that. You are blocking the flow of the universe and the love that you are when you do that. It not only hurts the person that you love, but it also hurts you. And life is just too short to go around holding on to things. It's better to spend that time with those that you love before they leave this earth, loving them and cherishing them and being with them, rather than holding grudges and blocking. So with that, I send you love. I send you healing, send you peace, send you joy. And may you shift into a forgiveness release and just seeing that person that you love as that little child, as I see the man I love as that little child. And I say to him, I love you. And I say to all of you, I love you. And may you give thanks for the gift and come back into love and be with those that you love. Espado.